All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Super Saturday Session Breakdown. We're going to go through the 6 elements for today. I'm going to go through the full session, the methodology, some percentages that you can hit if you'd like to try some of these things, as it is a little bit more higher load than usual. How you can balance and incorporate this into 2 separate workouts, or pick some bits and pieces that you want to work on in this week's training, next week's training, what have you. So, getting right into it. The focus of this session was to prepare a buddy of mine for Metcon Rush, which is coming up in September. It's a local competition in Western Maryland, and the workouts are dope. Wanted to give him a try. He was game for it. So for the main piece of this, it's kind of centered around this, which is biking, overhead squats, and handstand walks. Movements that I'm very fond of, and then everything else is kind of stacked around that to supplement that, blowing up the legs a little bit more than usual, getting a little bit more cardio in for this session than I typically would, and a little bit less volume of just pieces that we're doing. So there's only 6 here today. In the past I've done 7 or 8. So let's get right into it. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit down. There's a little bit of tiredness. It is much later than I typically do this. There's some other things I had to take care of. So I apologize if the energy is a little bit low, but I'm going to try to bring that as I continue to get through this workout and talk to you guys about the breakdown here. So, number 1, the complexes. There's 2 of them. The first one is going to be a snatch complex, where we are going to be, and there's no specification here, you can power snatch or squat snatch, but with the high percentage, in this one I built up to 86% of my 1 rep max for this complex. It was a snatch, again, could be power or squat, 2 snatch balances. So that's when after you snatch, you're bringing the bar behind the back of your neck, and you're going to dip, drive, press out, and go into your squat snatch stance. Stand it back up, bring the bar back down, and we're going to do the same thing in another snatch balance. Once you bring that back down now in the front, we're going to be coming into another snatch. Again, it can be power or squat, but if you're going to be hitting some higher percentages, most likely it's going to force you into that squat. So the idea behind this complex is to establish really, really strong positioning overhead and working with a little bit of fatigued legs, seeing how your core responds, how well your posterior chain with these 4 movements of the snatch, 2 snatch balances, and another snatch. Those are pretty much just 4 overhead squats, how your body responds, and again, that's building off of this Metcon here, which also includes an overhead squat. So I did this complex first, before the Metcon, to help warm everything up and make sure my positioning was real good, and I hit a higher percentage as I've been feeling really strong in my overhead positioning, and I'll do a video on mobility, but that'll be for another time. Right now, we're going to get into complex number 2. This is going to be a clean and jerk complex. I was working on a power clean, and then going into a hang clean. Yep, hang clean, and then a power jerk. So the power clean, there's no squat there, but with the hang clean, typically with this kind of weight, you're going to be squatting it, and once you're there, the power jerk is going to be no split jerk. It's just simply a dip, a drive, a push overhead. And the reason I've been doing this, or am doing this complex, is I've been reviewing my clean and jerk. I've been really I've been really critical of my snatch for the past 6 to 8 weeks, and now I want to be more critical on my clean and jerk. So I need to be working on the timing of the bar with some tall snatches, but here that was my warm up, working on the power and the hang clean here, as my posterior chain typically tends to go out a little bit early for me. And then the whole purpose of the power jerk is my split jerk is a little bit wonky right now, and I don't want to tweak it and figure stuff out at the moment, so we're going to lower the percentage of weight and simply just power jerk overhead and really focus on a shorter dip, because I tend to over dip and use too much knee, and it pushes me in a very inefficient pattern. So that was the reasoning for this complex here. And also to the supplements, the overhead squat here, getting the bar in a good position to then power jerk it overhead, and then have that stability to hold it overhead in a more narrow grip than most athletes probably use. So that's the whole idea behind this complex. Then we get into the workout for Metcon Rush, which I believe is event 2, and it's 3 rounds for time. Men and women will be performing an 800-meter Bike Erg on the Concept 2, and then you're gonna walk on your hands 30 feet to the barbell, which will be loaded with 205 pounds for the men and 145 pounds for the ladies. You're gonna perform 7 overhead squats. So you're gonna bring the bar from the ground, you can position it on your back and then press it overhead, or you can simply jerk it from the front, however you please. You're gonna perform 7 overhead squats there. And then you're going to handstand walk it back to the bike, and you're gonna repeat that for a total of 3 rounds. 10-minute time cap. It's a fun one. I had a blast. I thought that it is, in my opinion, probably my favorite programmed workout of the 3 workouts that they've announced for the elite individuals. So I had a great time doing this. Now, if 205 and 145 is too heavy for you, percentage-wise, I thought for me, it was challenging. It caused me to really focus on my breathing and my bracing and using my legs and my whole body in a very coordinated way. So the percent for me for my overhead squat from a 205 is this is about 75% for me. So if you want to take it for what it is, for what your overhead squat is, and attempt this workout, 75% is probably gonna be a pretty difficult, challenging, but still doable weight. So then we get into some of the accessories. So a whole lot of exercising and fitness going on here. So after these 2 components, a little bit of a refuel, taking in some first form ignition to get some quick carbs back in the body, down to fuel for fire, took in a Kill Cliff just to get some electrolytes back in. They're really cold, refreshing. I like that carbonated or that carbonation from the drink, helps settle my stomach a little bit. So while all that's digesting and I'm still sipping on plenty of water, we're gonna be doing 5 sets of 27 GHDs and immediately supersetting that with 14 toes to bar. Now, these numbers are not your typical even 20, 25, 30, what have you. And the reason for the 27 is if you've been following along for the past 4 weeks now, I've been doing stacks of GHDs and toes to bar to work that core, work on my gymnastics, that flexibility in that shoulder that we're looking for, becoming a little bit more efficient, especially under fatigue. So I believe week 1 was 22 GHDs, and we've added a couple, or even 1 or 2 at a time for the GHDs and the toes to bar. So ultimately, this is 41 repetitions per set for 5 sets. That's 205 reps in a pretty short time frame. Now, when I was doing this with my partner, I would go and then he would go. I'd rest for like another 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and then I'd be going again. So there is no specified rest time, but I wasn't taking too long. I would say it was less than 2 minutes rest per person on average. So that's, again, 5 sets, 27 GHDs, 14 toes to bar. Rest as needed, but don't take too long. You really want to feel the burn, focus on your breathing, and be as efficient as possible within each set. Next, again, letting the food still digest a little bit, still taking in fluids, bringing the energy levels back up, building to a heavy front squat, 1 front squat, plus 2 back squats. So for this, starting out very, very light, probably somewhere around like 50% for the front squat, as that will be the limiting factor for this lift. We're gonna be basing stuff off that. I built up to 91% of my front squat, 1 RM, and then that equates to 81% of my back squat. So a very comfortable weight. Really wanted to focus on whatever was left in my legs from this workout. We're kind of blowing it out here strength-wise, seeing how the central nervous system was gonna respond. Excuse me. And it responded pretty well. I was a little more fatigued and a little disappointed in how it felt, but overall the movements were very solid. I just wanted a little bit more juice in my legs so I could go a little bit higher, but 91% for the front squat, I'll take it for the day. It was a very clean repetition with a little bit of movement in the back, but not much, but I'm very happy with where it's progressing. So that's the whole idea there, is under fatigue, what's left in the legs, testing all that. Now, 10 rounds for time here. I did not do this at the gym. I had to come home, take care of some things, and then I finished it in the garage. It's going to be 10 rounds for total time, 10 cal or 7 cal for the ladies on the Echo bike, 1 minute rest after each interval. So since there's a long rest period here, you're going to be wanting to push the pace when you are working. So I was trying to keep my RPMs or my cadence at a very high rate, probably a little bit higher than I would typically shoot for a workout, really trying to push the pace, get uncomfortable. For the first 5 rounds, it was very challenging, but I feel like I could have pushed a little bit harder as I was entering the 6th, 7th, 8th round. I could pick up my cadence, and the 1 minute rest really is a ton of rest. From when you finish, add the minute, and then the total time, including the rest, is going to be your score for this conditioning piece. Very simple, but very effective. And it definitely helped flush out the legs from the squats that we were going through here and the snatch complex with all those overhead squats as well. Lastly, we have the last little bit of accessory work, just trying to get a pump here. We're looking at 5 sets of 10 strict pull-ups. You could also do 10 banded assisted pull-ups if 10 strict is too many. And if you are a pull-up pro, you can do 10 chest to bar strict. Superset of that with 10 dual dumbbell bench press, making the dumbbells at a moderately heavy weight, nothing too crazy. I was using 270s, I warmed up with some 50s, bumped into the 70s, felt good, getting a good stretch there, a little pause at the bottom, not really trying to rush the reps. Again, we're trying to just get a good pump here, finish off those triceps a little bit because I didn't really work them out a whole lot here unless we're looking at the power jerk and a little bit of that press out on the snatch balance, but really that's kind of the shoulders and the back supporting it. So I was really trying to get those triceps and the chest involved here with this superset of the pull-ups and the dumbbell bench press. So breaking this down into 2 separate workouts, again, we have 6 components here, so it's a nice even 3 and 3. So let's look at everything in the blue. If you're doing what's in the blue, you want to focus on what the complex work is. That's going to be your main workout. I want you to really warm up really well. Make sure that the lats are nice and loose, your pecs aren't tight, so you can get in a really good, strong position for your snatch, for your jerk overhead, really strong pull on those cleans. Making sure that the hips are nice and loose. Overall, your mobility that you're doing forehand, even touching the barbell, is on point. So when you go to the barbell, you can be very successful and hit these higher percentages. Shooting for somewhere in that 80 to 90% range would be a good goal for the complexes. Then you have a short conditioning piece where your total time on the bike is going to be anywhere between probably 3 and 5 minutes with the 9 minutes of rest in between. So high intensity, lower volume in respect to what is being asked for in this short little conditioning piece. Not really a true Metcon, but a good conditioning piece to have. And then the accessories, we're just finishing and blasting the core here, as we've already worked pretty much a total workout here, flushed everything out on the arms and legs there, and then that little core work accessories just to finish it off for the day. That makes the workout in blue definitely Olympic lift focused. And then if we flip sides to the purple, you're going to be starting off with that heavy front squat, back squat, hopefully making this overhead squat weight feel a little bit lighter. Now, one thing that I would probably include with the purple is, again, working on that mobilization overhead, allowing your body to be loose and accepting the barbell. I would probably, from the rack, take some snatch balances or do a couple behind the neck push presses with some heavier weight. Feel the load on your body, make sure your shoulders and your lats are activated. Probably do some crossover symmetry. Some mobility with a kettlebell overhead or a dumbbell. Again, stacking the body real well, getting your body used to feeling that weight, because at 205 or 75% of your 1 rep max overhead squat, it's going to feel very heavy if you're not warmed up properly. So this will get your legs going. You'll need to do something a little bit extra, maybe some bear crawls as you're warming up for your handstand walk to make sure that your upper body, again, is nice and loose for what you need it to do. And then, because this is going to be more leg focused here with the bike and the squats, the handstand walk is a little bit upper body, but really to incorporate some other muscles other than our legs, we're going to be doing, again, the bench and the pull-ups, which will pretty much cover everything for the day. And that's going to break down the workout in purple. So this is August 21st, Super Saturday session. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you found some value in this. I hope you guys take some of this, implement it into your training, as I had a very good day today of not feeling super overworked, but I felt like I got a good amount of volume in. So I hope you guys appreciate the content. I appreciate you guys for tuning in live on YouTube, and not live on YouTube, live on Instagram and on the YouTube channel. So thank you guys again. I'm going to get ready for bed as we are traveling. So thank you. Much love. Peace.